Hello guys, in this lesson I will show you how to shade this simulation in Arnold in Maya. And if you want to know how I created this simulation in Houdini, click on the link below in the description to see how I created that in Houdini. So let's get started. Okay guys, so first if you click here and choose Arnold Render, if you don't see the Arnold Renderer guys, you go to Windows and then Settings and Preferences and then Plugin Manager. Make sure you loaded the Arnold Renderer. If you scroll down, you will see here we have mtoa.mll. Okay, so make sure you loaded that. So I will close that and I will hit render here. As you see guys, we have a black screen. We don't see anything. If you click on the alpha, you see we have a white background. So I will click again on the RGB and I will set in an HDR. So I will go to Arnold. You see this menu, and then I will go to lights and then I will click on Sky Dome Light. So in the attribute editor, I will click on the attribute editor and make sure your AI Sky Dome Light is selected. And here in the color, I will click on the checkbox. And here we will select the file, or you can type here file. Okay. And I will select the file. And here guys, I will click on this yellow icon and I will load the HDR. I created a bookmark for the path for my HDR. Here I have an HDR and I have a TX. So Arnold can load TX files. So I will select the HDR. When you hit render, Arnold will convert the HDR to TX format. So in my case, I will select the HDR for now and I will click open. And now guys, if I hit render again, now you see we have the light. Okay, another thing guys I want to mention here, if I stop this renderer by clicking here and I will close this window, you know Arnold has a render viewer. So if you go to Arnold and then Arnold render view, you see here I have a render view for Arnold. So if you click on this icon, so Arnold will create a render. Okay, so I prefer using this window, this render viewer. Okay, as you see guys, we just have an HDR image. Okay, so another thing guys, when you hit render, maybe you saw that your PC is slowing down. So I will show you a little trick here. So I use it a lot. So if I go to render settings and here in the system, here you see we have auto detect threads. So I will check off that. So I will set the threads to -2. So what this does is Arnold will use all threads except 2 threads. Okay, so these two threads will make the scene lighter for you. Okay, so every time I use, remember guys, so when you put -2, so Arnold will use all the threads on your CPU, will leave 2 threads for another uses. So this is very great way to make the scene lighter. Okay, if you set it to 2, Arnold just will use 2 threads to render the file. Okay, so I will leave it to -2. And here guys, you see we have a lot of noise. The reason is this noise caused by the HDR. So if you select the HDR image, and let me minimize the render settings, and here you see the samples. So I will increase the samples. Before I increase the samples, I will make a snapshot. So if you click here, so now you created a snapshot. So now guys, I will set the samples to 3 and the render, and we will get rid of the most of the noise. So now if you click here once, you see the difference. If I click, this is the noisy, this is the last image when the samples were 1, and here this is the samples 3. Okay, another thing guys, you can select objects in the Arnold Render view. So this is very powerful way. Instead of going to the scene and selecting the mesh, you can select the mesh from the render view. So if I click once here, you see I selected the mesh. So this is very useful. Okay, so I will go to the render settings, and here guys you see we have in the Arnold renderer we have camera AA. So this is the sample, the overall sample. So if you increase this sample, Arnold will remove the noise, will multiply the noise removal by all the attributes. So for example, if this is 2, so Arnold will multiply 3 by 2. Okay, so for example, say you didn't change the AI samples, say you set it to 3 for example. If you set now to this one to 6, so 6 will multiply it by 3. Okay, so if you set it this one to 1 and you want to get rid of the noise, you need to change the camera AA to 6. Okay guys, so this is a multiplier. So if you want to remove the noise that caused by the diffuse, you set the diffuse to 3 or 5, and the specular and the transmission and the SSS. Okay guys, so let's move now to creating the materials. So I will close the render settings and I will stop the renderer. I will create the first material for the first layer. So I will right click and choose assign new material, and then in the Arnold tab I will click on AI standard surface. Remember guys, I am using Arnold 5, so if you go to Arnold and click on about, so you will see here the version of the Arnold. So in my case it's 5002. So I will click on AI standard surface, and here I will name it to AI first layer. Okay, so let's open the render viewer and click render again. So now guys, I will choose a color, something brown, something like that. I will double click on the color to open the palette. So if you scroll down guys, here you see the specular and here is the roughness. So I will set the specular to, for example, or let's leave it to 1, and here the IOR. So if you decrease this value, the reflection will be weaker. So the 1 point, for example, 2, as you see, we removed the reflection. So I will set it to 1.1. That's okay for me, and the roughness I will leave it, I will set to 0.05. And here you see the metalness. If you increase the value of metalness, the shader will be more metallic. Okay, as you see here, I will leave it of course at 0 because the chocolate is not metal. And in the subsurface, I will set the subsurface 0.5. As you see, it's too strong, and I will change the color to something brown. Okay, so guys, if you don't know what is subsurface, so the subsurface allowing the lights go through the object or the mesh. Okay, so that's what subsurface does. It's very simple. And the scale guys, you can set the scale to, for example, 0.5. How much this controls how much the light will go through the mesh. Okay, of course here you have the emission. The code is another layer of specular, guys. So if you want, for example, set a specular and roughness to 0, and then you want another specular but you want it to be the roughness 0.5, for example. So this is very powerful to layering the specular, two speculars. And here you have the emission, of course. If you, another thing, guys, here, if you hold shift and drag a rectangle here, now Arnold will render just what inside the rectangle. So this is very powerful way to speed up your render and see the results. You don't have to wait until all the image is finished renderings. This is the emission, guys. You can emit color, you can emit light from the object. Okay, we will look at the transmission later. Let's now create the shader for the second layer, which will be milk. So I will close that. So now I will select the, or you can select it from here too. So I will right click and go to assign new material, and then in the Arnold shader I will select AI standard and I will set it to milk layer. So now, guys, I will go to subsurface. The color will be white, so let me create a render here. Okay, so I will make a selection here. Actually, guys, I want to move the slider to somewhere here. Okay, so now I will make a selection so we can see the layer. Okay, so I will go to the shader that we created, and I will set the subsurface to something 0.5. It's okay, and the roughness, I think I will leave it to 0.1, and I will set it, the IOR, to 1.23. Okay, let's see how the render will look like. So actually, guys, I want to adjust the rectangle here, so just we need to show the layer milk. As you see, guys, now we have more noise here. The reason is this noise caused by the subsurface. So what we can do now, we are going to render settings, and in the Arnold renderer you need to increase the SSS, guys. You can increase the AA samples, guys, but you will make the render take too long. So when you increase this one, you will improve the quality of the render, but you will increase the time, the render time, a lot. So it's better to control just the noise of the subsurface scattering. So now I am telling Arnold just to remove the noise of the subsurface scattering. So I will set it something 3. And guys, another thing, you see on the wall we have a lot of noise too. So I will select the sky, and then I will set this one back to 3, and I will set the diffuse to 3. Okay, so every time, guys, I leave the diffuse to 3 or 4, even in production. Maybe you see a little bit of difference between the render you see here and in the video I showed you at the first of the tutorial. The reason is because in the last render I did was in Arnold 3, I think. Yeah, it was 4. Sorry, it was Arnold 4. So it wasn't Arnold 5. So that's it for just there are a little bit of difference, guys, because in this version they changed a lot of things in the shader, so maybe the result is not the same. Okay, so this is the second layer, guys. We didn't remove the noise, so we need to increase the SSS samples, I think, to 4, and the camera, the overall, so as I said, guys, this is the overall sampling, will multiply it by all, so this will multiply it by 4 and 2 and 2 and 3. So let's shade the third layer. Okay, so I will move the time slider somewhere here. Okay, so now I select the third layer, guys, and then I will go to add new shader, and I will select AI standard, because we need this material be, or this shader be transparent, guys. So before you adjust anything, you need to select the object, and here you see in the third layer I will go to Arnold and disable the opaque. So this is very, very important, guys. You disable it every time you want to make a transparent object, or you want to make a glass, any object, any transparent object. Okay, you remove the check on the opaque. So now I will go to the shader, I will right click and choose material attribute to go to the AI standard. I will name it AI third layer. And here, guys, in the transmission, I will set it to 1. Let's see what we get. So if I go to render view and then click render, okay, as you see, it's like a glass. So what you need to do now, guys, you click on the color and set the color to something red. Okay, and here you can control the depth, and this is the scatter, how the light will scatter in the surface. So let me grab a selection here. Okay, and here the roughness, so the light going through the object, how much roughness you want the light will be. You can of course decrease this value, it's not necessary to set it to 1. Okay, I think this is okay. If you set this one to 0 or 0.1, you see there is difference. So I will set it to 0.5, for example. This is the depth, guys, how much the light will go through the object. 1 will make it more brighter, or 10. Okay, I think it's okay. As I said, guys, there is difference between what you saw at the first of the tutorial in the animation of the chocolate and this renderer. Okay, there are a little bit of difference. So now, guys, let's create the ground shader. I will right click and just selecting a simple shader for that. Okay, let's do our final render. Of course, we need to change something here. The fuse roughness, I will set it to 1. I will make it a little bit darker, and for the roughness I will set it to 0.3, and I will decrease the weight to 0.5. And for the production, guys, if you saw black areas in the render, if you render if you create a shader for glass or anything transparent, if you saw some black area in the mesh, you simply go to ray depth and increase the transmission samples here. So the more you increase it, the more you will remove the blacks on the shader. So this was just an introduction, guys, for you. So I hope you liked the video, and like and share if you liked my tutorial. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget, guys, to check my tutorial on how I created this simulation in Houdini. Really, it's very powerful course, and it's just $10. It's the price of cup of beer. Okay, so don't forget to buy it, and see you another time.